Welcome and thank you for being here as a subscriber to Harrowings. Harrowings is the name of my Substack. It's designed to dig in to the surface of things, to go deeply superficial, as Andy Warhol would have said it. And I've thrown in a little picture of myself back in 1997. That's close on 28 years ago. It was August, and I was sitting in Freiburg outside of a venue called Bier and Speck, which means beer and bacon. Who can beat that? I was looking off into the distance, musing, thinking probably about my career, which at the time was being a freelance translator, German into English. I don't do that now. I can read German pretty well and could even speak it potentially. But instead, what I'm doing is taking my time up with writing in Harrowings, interviewing folks, and if you would like to be my guest on Harrowings, taking new folks in on the calendar. I've only got one lined up right now, sometime later this week, hopefully, or maybe in the early part of next week, sometime soon. And then we've had so far um, three: Sonny Triple, Lisa Law, and Scott Guberman have been my guests on the Harrowings podcast, as I call it. So I have gone live largely just to talk to you all a minute, not about anything in particular, but enriching the life I'm leading right now by including as many people in it as I possibly can, spilling my guts a bit, which I've done a little earlier today with the autobiographical sketch that went out with a preview for free subscribers, but to the paid subscribers, they can read the whole thing. It is kind of a raw piece of writing that was begun and didn't really ever get finished, but it may yet spin out and become a more finished product as I do some editing and talking about really the intimate aspects of my life, which have shaped me into who I am today. At the age of 62, I am facing a long life, I expect, because the genetics of my family are pretty good. My father just passed at 91, my mother is at 86, and really good physical health, though her mind is not what it was. Her memory is slipping away, as happens to a lot of people. The cause of that, I'm not entirely sure. A lot of people talk about, having the gene for Alzheimer's, but there are a lot of things that can damage our brains as we get older. And, it's a natural function of aging that our cognitive abilities decline over time. You may be hearing my background music. I don't know if it's being picked up or not. I'll find out when I put this out there. And I do what I can do, put things out there in rather raw form. You can see from things behind me that I'm an inveterate collector of both books and CDs, and I've got a lot going on there. Right now, we're listening to King Crimson's live in Chicago, November 29th, 1995. The drummers are at it on what I believe maybe Ba-Boom, and that'll go into Thrack and into Neurotica, and we'll hear some more if I decide to talk that long. I'm not really a big fan of long talks, but I do think that there's some value in doing longer form as well, getting into the real life. Then why don't I do a little bit of that? Lynn and I went out to Trader Joe's after sleeping in this morning. She's on vacation from her job at Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership. And it was a nice day. So far, I've been spending a lot of it here in the back while she's out front listening to a book on tape and really enjoying that, I expect, because that's what she loves to do. And I go out every so often to make sure that she's doing well and that she's got, pretty much everything she needs, and made myself some coffee. I'm wearing a t-shirt with Holly Bowling on it, and I'm drinking from a camp mug that also is a piece of Holly Bowling swag. One of the things I did with my time and energy and what free cash I had around was to support her Seeking All That's Still Unsung double LP that was put out in I think, October of 2020, right as or November, right as the pandemic um, summer was ending. The first one, the pandemic continues, and is still killing people out there. Though it seems like we've just sort of rolled over for the idea that this is another virus we have to contend with, along with the influenza, the common cold, and all those other things that can affect us. Yeah, it's hard to talk over the music, I must say. So I probably won't continue this too much longer. But to say that, supporting musicians and artists is extremely important right now and always is. It's the thing that really continues after all of the hubbub of political life, economic life goes on. And we can relate across the centuries through transmitting our art, our literature, really all of the different things that we produce in creative ways. This is one of those things. And I'd like it to be deeper and richer than it is at the moment. And I expect I'll get better at it as we go. I need people to talk to, though. I need to find that meaning that is generated between two people talking with each other, sharing experiences, becoming more than they would be as individuals simply by coming together. There's something more that's generated out of two people coming together. If anything happens at all, both are transformed. And I believe that's really what we're here to do, to help transform each other, refine each other into better instruments for caring for this planet and all of the people in it. It's varied, our expression of the harrowing experience of being alive. I can hear in the music behind me just the intensity with which these musicians are applying their trades. And it is a trade, after all. It is a calling, it is a necessary part of our activities. Writing, similarly, is one. One of the things I try to do is to read when I can Book of Days by Patti Smith, that she's left that to us here. Cowboys and Gardenias, The Power of the Dog. It's her comment on 27th May. And you see the photograph that goes with that here out of her Book of Days. Has Cairo on the back. Cairo passed away just a week after Cassandra. Cairo was close on 22. Cassandra was 19. And those were our respective cats. Cassandra, mine, and Patty's Cairo. We have a lot of companions in our lives, different species. We're all interrelated. We forget that as human beings. We think it would just take human beings to Mars will do the trick. But we need all these other animals to travel with us. I'm thinking about the colonization of Jamestown now as 1607, just miles from where I was born. In 1607, they settled there, and it wasn't immediate that they had a good traction because just about everybody who was on those first supply ships was pretty quickly dead of being separated from their society. We'll run into similar problems if we try to go to Mars, I'm certain. We can plan it, we can certainly do better in terms of planning than we were capable of doing in 1607. However, they were just crossing an ocean. We're thinking of crossing vast interstellar distances. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm really grateful to be anywhere at all these days, trying to make my way from the dawn to dusk, from cradle to grave. And I really don't have a lot more to contribute to this particular posting. But I'd like to hear from you all. I'd like to hear what's on your minds and have you reflect back to me something of your own experiences. So we've come to close to 10 minutes of this. I think we're going to wrap it up here. And thank you again for joining and being a part of Harrowings.